On this episode of the History of the Chorus podcast with Curtis and Josh, we take a look at the history of the band known as Every Time I Die. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcasting service you're using. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta, army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Chorus podcast, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. With me today is my co-host, a connoisseur of music, a man who has been in several bands you've probably never even heard of, my friend Josh.
Yeah, you've not heard of them.
What are? Go ahead and name them off real quick.
I was in Carcass of a Carnivore. I was in Why Me? Very briefly in They Were Outlaws. Robert Paulson.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And that's pretty much it. Everything else was like pretty much just dead on the table.
What? Nice. What was Why Me? I never even heard of that one.
Why Me was what we were before Carcass of a Carnivore, but it was like,
oh, I remember that now. Yeah.
Like when it was actually Carcass of a Carnivore, it was like pretty much all different people except for me.
Okay, man. You know what I thought of this last week was Hospice, and
Spice.
Yeah, what was their big song?
Retribution.
Was it Retribution? So I went on
Retribution
YouTube
and Torment.
Okay, I went on YouTube and they had an EP on there from back in the day, but I got to like Retribution, but it didn't even like sound like familiar.
What?
It was weird. Yeah, I don't know. It was I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I really don't know. It just didn't sound familiar to me. It was really weird because I was thinking I would remember it, but
that was the song that everybody loved too, and they got so sick of playing it. Like I remember being at least a couple of shows where they're like, "We're not playing Retribution.
We're not playing this song.
It will not be played."
Well, we're not sticking around to listen. My other question.
Leaned into Torment. Like then everybody just overplayed Torment. It's a good EP.
Yeah. My other question was, what about your solo project? It's the Josh project. The Josh project.
That'd be god awful. I'm not a solo musician.
I just make random noises with like just random everyday instruments throughout the world.
Ambient textures.
Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, that's Josh. I'm Curtis. Today we are looking at the band known as Every Time I Die. 2 questions for you, Josh. Number 1. When or where was the first time you heard this band?
I think the first time I heard them at all was probably Hot Damn.
Okay.
And I liked it. I don't think I liked it as much then as I do now. But
did somebody introduce you to them, or did you just kind of find them on your own?
I think I'd heard at least 1 or 2 tracks off that album before I really knew anybody else who listened to them.
Okay.
But then, it was one of those things where some people I started hanging out with were like, "Oh, do you listen every time I die?" Like, I think I've heard a couple of their songs,
Yeah.
And then that was probably around like Gutter Phenomenon time.
Okay. My other question was, have you ever seen them live?
No, I've not seen
him. Really? Okay.
I know, and I had to
I questioned it. My mind was thinking, I don't know if he has seen him or not.
Yeah, I kind of had to think about it. There's so many bands that like I've forgotten that I've seen. Like I forget all the time that I've seen Job for a Cowboy, like all the time. And I think it was because it was like so late for them.
Right.
Like I was definitely maybe 3 or 4 albums in.
Right.
And then
Okay.
like the Faceless, like I always forget that I've seen the Faceless like a couple times.
Okay.
But
Alrighty.
yeah, no, I
Cool.
have not seen Every Time I Die, which is
Okay.
regrettable because now it's over and I'll never get to see
It's a
them.
little late for that now, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't really know if we're ever going to get a reunion from the way it broke up. But anyway,
Probably not.
probably not. All right, man, let's get on into it. The genre here of Every Time I Die is metalcore, hardcore punk, post-hardcore, and a little bit of southern metal, or not metal, southern rock. Close to southern metal, I guess. I don't know. No, southern
It just
rock.
feels better to say Southern metal, even though it,
It's-
it maybe
it's-
not Southern, like it's
Yeah.
not metal. It feels a lot better to say Southern metal than Southern rock. If you
Just
tell somebody it's
rolls off the
Southern
tongue.
rock, it just feels like Skinnerd or something, you know?
Oh, right. Yeah,
It's like, all right,
classic.
it goes a little harder than Skinnerd,
Right, exactly. Yeah, just a little bit, just a wee bit, man.
just a little bit.
Man, well, I guess I can't really ask you about this next one because you didn't get to see him live, but maybe you've seen at least performances on YouTube live, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think I've seen that. That's weird. I just now realized that. And there he goes. He's already doing it. He already warned me he would be singing riffs throughout this episode. So look out for that. Anyway,
I can't help
They-
it. I can't
no,
help
it's
it.
good. It's all good, man. It's all good. When you love a band so much, you do that. I do that too sometimes. I get a riff stuck in my head and I just start humming it. But this band is known for their energetic and intense live performances. Would you agree, Josh?
Yeah, I don't know. One of the last couple times I watched some of their stuff live, it was when they played a couple of songs that were going to be on Radical,
Yeah.
and this is long before it came out. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like if I look back at some of the older stuff, like yeah, for sure.
I was going to say, yeah,
But-
more probably their older stuff because it seemed like, I don't want to say they slowed down on Radical, but I mean, it's definitely different from, when they started and everything for sure.
Yeah,
Or especially when they hit their high point in the middle of their discography, like Gutter Phenom and New Junk aesthetic and everything like that. Big Dirty and such.
Big Dirty.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, man. Here we go with the history of Every Time I Die. Formed in Buffalo, New York, Buffalo, New York in 1998 by Jordan Buckley, Andy Williams, and Michael Ratboy Novak. And then Keith Buckley soon joined right after, along with John McCarthy. So here's your
Ratboy.
first official lineup. By the way, speaking of Ratboy, I noticed there's a lot of guys in this band with nicknames. Have you noticed that before?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's at least a music video or two where they throw up like
Like
kind of
or-
nicknames and stuff for
Yeah.
everybody. Oh, I know they do it in the New Black,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Anyway, here's your first official lineup. You got Keith Buckley on vocals, Jordan Buckley on guitar. If you hadn't noticed, they are brothers, just in case people didn't realize that, but they are brothers. Andy Williams on guitar, and I think his is Andy Butcher Williams or something like that. I think that's what they called him, the Butcher.
something like that. Isn't he
Yeah.
a wrestler?
Yeah, and I think that's like his wrestling name too, is like he's the Butcher. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, Andy Williams on guitar, John McCarthy on bass, and Michael Ratboy on Ratboy Novak on drums.
The Rat.
The Rat. All right, man, here we go. Kicking it up right into 1999's Demo, which was a self-release. Have you ever heard this one, Josh? I think there's only 4 songs on it.
A Burial Plot Bidding War? Oh,
Right before
no.
that. Yeah, right before that.
Okay.
It's just called Demo.
No, I've not listened to that.
Okay. 4 songs on here. It's called the songs are Your Touch versus Death, Prom Song, To Die For, and Nobody Moves, Nobody Gets Hurt. Two of those songs actually end up being re-recorded
I was gonna
and
say
put
prom
on Burial
song.
Plot.
Yeah, ends up on Burial Plot. Does the other one get renamed?
No, the other one is Your Touch versus Death, and it stays with the same name.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's your demo. I actually listened to it when I started doing these notes, and I was actually pleasantly surprised how. I mean, it still sounds like a demo, but I think coming off of 2 episodes ago when we were doing the Chariot, and I was listening to a couple of their first demos. I mean, that sounded like demo. One microphone in a basement, everybody getting as close as they can to that microphone. It just sounds so demo-y, you know?
Yeah.
This one, it like I say, it's still kind of got like the characteristics of a demo, but it sounds pretty good, actually, sound quality wise. So I was a little surprised by that. While on tour, short tour here, the band meets producer Chris Logan, who in turn would connect them with the record company Goodfellows Records. That would lead them to releasing the band's first EP, which is, like you were talking about, Josh, 2000's The Burial Plot Bidding War from Goodfellow Records. What do you think about this album, Josh?
I like it. It's good. In this first like few albums, obviously it's not the strongest because it's going to be a rarity. It's a rarity with a lot of bands, but Every Time I Die, the progression is consistent like over their
Yes.
entire discography. It's not
Yes.
like the first couple albums are just so good that everything from there just goes downhill. It's like this steady build all the way to Radical. And then
Or
that
the
is
opposite
like,
of like, right, or the opposite of like their first few albums are just terrible, and then all of a sudden you hit gold with one, and then yeah, it's a good, like you say, it's a good progression.
yeah. And you can feel it like every step of the way, like listening to
Right.
them in order. Yeah, you can really tell they're like building on stuff from the previous albums.
Right. Yeah, I would say the not including the demo, but the first EP and then their first full album, Last Night in Town, are definitely their definitely the rawest. And then once you get to Hot Damn, that's when I feel like they turn it up a notch. And that's where you get like the meat of their sound. I feel like, I mean, still they're still progressing throughout time, in each album and everything. But I feel like you start to turn a corner when you hit Hot Damn with that sound that we're used to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyway, don't want to get way too ahead here. So let's rewind here back to the Burial Plot Bidding War from Goodfellow Records in 2000. This is actually going to be the only album minus the demo that features John McCarthy on bass. The songs include The Emperor's New Clothes, again, the re-recorded version of Your Touch versus Death, and the re-recorded version of Prom Song, which actually on the demo, it doesn't include this audio sample, but on the EP here, Prom Song includes an audio sample at the beginning of the song. It's from a movie called Event Horizon in 1997. Have you seen that?
No.
I've heard it before, and I think I've seen like very small clips from it. But it's starring Lawrence Fishburne and your favorite actor of all time, Josh, Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Somehow our shows always turn back to Sam Neill.
They always come back to Sam Neill.
By the way, speaking of Sam Neill, did you hear he is signed on to be in the season 2 of House of the Dragon?
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
But I'm gonna laugh if he is, man, because like I said, everything for our shows come back to Sam Neill. He is a reoccurring person on our show, apparently.
Don't say it can't happen. We already got Patty Considine.
That's true. There's somebody else that I had heard already signed on for season 2 of House of Dragon. Who was that? And it's kind of a bigger name. Oh shoot, who was that? I don't even remember. I'll have to look it up later. Anyway,
Doesn't matter. Wrong show.
Doesn't matter. Wrong show. Anyway, audio sample from Event Horizon is played at the beginning of Prom Song. There's also Home is Where You Hang Yourself.
Yep.
Alrighty. And Morphine Season. I will say I love their song titles. They're pretty funny at times. They're very interesting.
There's some good ones.
There's definitely some good ones for sure. This album is met with favorable reviews, and in 2004 it would be reissued by Undecided Records with a new album artwork. Any final thoughts, Josh, on this album?
No.
What's can we hear some
it's
riffs?
it's a good album. Like I love Emperor's New Clothes. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good one. It's just not one
It's
of my
not there yet.
favorites.
It's not there yet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's good for what it is, and it's not an album that I like to skip or anything.
Right. What riff do you have for this album? I want a riff from you from every album.
Like, I don't even know if I can think of one off of this. Yeah, pass.
Pass. Alrighty. All right. That's 2000s The Burial Plot Bidding War. Like I said, John McCarthy, the bassist, that would be his only album to be featured on. He would be replaced by Aaron. Oh boy, God be with me. Aaron Ratajkowski. Sure, we'll go with that. Aaron Rat. That's what I'm going with. Aaron Rat on bass. Yeah. Oh, and then at this time, are you saying something? Because I can't hear you.
Radijak.
Radijak. Okay, thank you. Okay, John McCarthy, bassist, replaced by Aaron Radijak on bass. And it was at this time that the band would sign on with the famous Ferret Records. Ferret. Some good stuff there. Good stuff.
There were some great bands on Ferret there for a while.
Yes, there were. All right. That brings us to 2001's first full-length album from Every Time I Die from Ferret Records, Last Night in Town. This is going to be the only album to feature Aaron. How'd you say it again? I'm sorry. Radijak.
Radijak. Sorry, I switched it off. I had it on. I switched it off. Radijak.
Oh my goodness. Okay, only album with Aaron Radijak on bass. I'm finding a theme here, Josh. I don't think it happened on our last episode with O Sleeper. And actually, now that I think of it, it may not have happened with the Chariot. Well, no, it didn't happen with the Chariot either. Maybe it happened with O Sleeper then. I don't know. But this album, Last Night in Town, was actually produced by Adam Dunkowitz from Kill Switch Engaged.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
heard that name before. It seems like, especially there in the early 2000s, he's done a lot of
He's all
producing
over the
work
place.
Yeah. I think, did he do They're Only Chasing Safety for Under Oath?
No, he did Define the Great Line.
That's right. Okay.
We talked about
he
this.
did
Him
something for them.
and
Yeah.
Goldman worked together on that.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, he was very active in the early 2000s, which was pretty interesting. Great producer though.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like these first two albums are the rawest for Every Time I Die. Good albums, but definitely like we both agreed, they're not there yet. It's a slow progression. Okay, Keith Buckley actually stated that this album is filled with black humor, technical excursions, metallic breaks, and actually has intertwining and eclectic guitar work. And he also stated that the album was a, quote, a chronological order of riffs that we wrote, unquote. How interesting is that? So he's saying that the album basically is, if you listen to it from the first track all the way to the end, that's how they wrote their guitar riffs.
From the beginning of the album to the end of the album?
Basically is what there's basically that's what he's saying is these songs are in order of the how we wrote these guitar riffs, how they came to us or whatever. I thought that was pretty interesting. Songs on this album include Emergency Broadcast Syndrome, Jimmy Tango's Method, Punch Drunk Punk Rock Romance. Say that about 20 times.
Punch Drunk Punk Rock
See?
Punch Drunk
Exactly.
Punk Rock Romance.
That one actually includes Howard Jones. Do you know who Howard Jones is, Josh?
That name's not ringing a bell for me.
Okay. It didn't ring a bell for me either until I realized who it really was. So at this time, this album was put out. Howard Jones was the vocalist of a band called Blood Has Been Shed. But that's not who he's famous for being vocalist with. He later would join Killswitch Engaged as their vocalist.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Other songs include Enter Without Knocking and Notify the Police, Pincushion, and Shallow Water Blackout. This album was received with high praise and would be re-released in 2004 with new album artwork. Keith Buckley would also state after re-listening to the album in 2010, quote, "It's hard to play. I don't know how I even wrote some of that stuff." End quotes. It's kind of interesting because I didn't think, like, listening to it, I was like, it didn't. I mean, I don't want to say, oh, it doesn't sound hard to play. I don't know. After reading that quote, I was like, okay.
I mean, it doesn't seem super technical or anything.
Not like it's like technical death metal or anything.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's the timing.
Maybe so. He also stated in 2013, he said the album was, quote, just 50 riffs and none of them repeat. And it's almost like, what were we thinking? End quote. I love it, man. I love these quotes from Keith. They're hilarious.
I'm guessing they don't play many of these live.
Probably not. You know, I don't know. I really haven't looked at a set list from them in like the past 5 years or so. But yeah, that's 2001's Last Night in Town from Ferret Records. What do you think about this album, Josh?
I like this one. Mostly musically. Lyrically, it's okay. It's still not to the sweet spot lyrically for me. And vocally, you can tell like he's starting to make the move towards where they go in Hot Damn and Gutter Phenomenon. I like Emergency Broadcast. I don't have a riff for this one, so I just wanted to pull a line off of Emergency Broadcast Syndrome that I like. It's the "Do you hear me? Am I coming through at all? Is any of this making sense? You've got a ghost on your hands."
What? You got a ghost on your hands.
You got a ghost on your hands.
You got a ghost on your hands. Oh, man. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
man.
it's a pretty good overall album. Shallow Water Blackout like closes out pretty good.
It's a good
the
one.
end of the
Yeah, it's a
album.
good closer. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. There's a lot of like stuff. There's a lot of bass stuff in these first few albums that I feel like I'd be super comfortable playing like open-handed with, like without a pick. Just like, I don't know. It feels a lot more just like jammy.
Okay.
But
Yeah, it's interesting because like so far through all my notes and everything, like the only thing that changes is their bass players. That you saying bass made me think of that.
yeah,
But it's weird because like it seems like every band has like one spot that like is just like constant rotation of members. Not every band, but it just seems like there's bands that have like, I mean, it seems like Every Time I Die is, at least here in the early stages, it's the bass players that are just like leaving left and right and being replaced.
yeah.
But yeah. Alrighty. Like I said, 2001's Last Night in Town, Ferret Records. Here we go. Aaron Radajak. Oh, God, here we go again. Aaron Radajak. the bass player. He was replaced by Stephen Mitchie. Hope I'm saying that right. On bass. He was in a band called Kid Gorgeous, which was actually a metalcore
Kid
band.
Gorgeous.
Was a metalcore band from Buffalo also. And they actually, both bands over their existence shared members from one point or another. I think Aaron actually was in that too. And Aaron may have actually basically switched Steven for bass players in these two bands. And I want to say Michael Novak was also in Kid Gorgeous at one point, and maybe McCarthy actually on bass. Have you ever heard of Kid Gorgeous?
I think so. That name sounds super familiar to me.
Yeah, I've never even heard of them. I'm just glad I actually got their name right. Unlike Periphery. Poor Periphery. Oh man. Poor Perry Ferry.
Perry Ferry,
Perry
as they
Ferry.
shall forever be known.
You ever heard that band Periphery? No. It's this band right here. Oh, Perry Ferry. Yeah. I love Perry Ferry. Who?
I love Perry Ferry. Goddamn.
Oh boy. All right, man. That takes us to 2003's Hot Damn from Farrad Records. What do you think, Josh? What do you think about Hot Damn?
This is a good one.
This is when they crank up the heat.
Now we're about to start getting into some dangerous
Now,
every
people,
time I die.
now
territory.
cover your ears.
Yeah, Romeo a Go-Go, solid.
Whew.
Godspeed Us to Sea.
Mhm.
I think my favorite one on this album though is Floater.
Okay.
If you drag the lake, you're gonna find it full of love.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Man.
that's my favorite track on the album. And then Hit of the Search Party's good. I mean, this is a good album. Like I never skip, but those are the ones that tee it off for me. And I love how Floater's like in the middle of the album because then it just like bumps right back up.
Right. Yeah. Picks you back up. There's no lull in the middle. That's for sure. All right. This is going to be the only album to, feature Stephen Mitchie on bass. See, this is what I'm talking about, man.
Mitchie.
There's a new bass player every single album so far. It's ridiculous.
We got the Rat. We got Mitch.
Man, McCarthy on the demo and the EP. Got Aaron on Last Night in Town, and now you got Mitchie on Hot Damn. Ridiculous. Anyway,
I feel like you can tell. Like,
yeah, I was just about to say, I think you can definitely tell there's a new basis every time. There was a music video for the lead single Ebola Rama. Love that name.
Ebola Rama. Is it like
hilarious,
reminiscent for you of like does it make you think of I was gonna say like Oh God, the Aftermath?
What the
Like
music video?
The song, no, the title, like the titles of the tracks.
Oh, yeah. Well, that and then was it Pornography?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think about that till you just said that. Yeah, that's true. That'd be right. Actually, that's like right. What? Oh God was 2005, so that'd be right before that.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
And these are bands that have toured together and stuff.
This is true. Wonder if they stole that. Anyway, all right. Songs include, you've already mentioned a few, but Romeo a Go-Go, Godspeed Us to Sea, Floater, In the Event That Everything Should Go Terribly, Terribly Wrong. I added an extra terribly. Hit of the Search Party. And like I just saying ago, Pornography. This album was met with favorable reviews. And to promote the album, the band went on tour with Steve-O from Jackass. Like, what the heck? Is he like, my question, I can't hear you. You're on mute again. My question is like, was he doing like stand-up comedy? That's the only thing I can think of.
He just comes out at the beginning of every set and he's like, I'm Steve-O, and this is Every Time I Die. And he just like dives into the crowd.
Like that's real, or
beginning of
that's
every
like your theory?
That's my theory because that's the
Oh,
beginning of.
okay.
That's how like every
Well,
Jackass
yeah.
starts.
Yeah, I was just like really confused by that because I was thinking I don't know if he ever did like stand up comedy or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's all like he's a big knock knock joke guy. That's probably what it was. Uh, oh man. Oh, okay. In order to promote this album, the band went on tour. Lots and lots and lots of tours. Actually, for the next 2 years,
I was
they
gonna
would
say
be
there's
touring nonstop basically for this album.
yeah, there's 2 years in between albums here.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and they filled that time definitely with touring. They seem to be a band that likes to tour. I mean, I would think that I think they're a good record band, but would you also agree that they probably enjoy touring a lot?
Yeah, I
They
mean for
seem
how
to
much they do it. Yeah.
right. I was about to say they seem more of a road. They seem more home at home on the road. It seems like I don't know, and they're just kind of like looking at them from behind you there. They just look like live concert guys.
Yeah.
They enjoy the moment, which is good. Along with that tour or the touring, they are actually going to do their first stint of many with the famous Warped Tour. Warped,
Warped Tour.
Warped Tour. I think it's not even around anymore, is it?
I don't think so.
Because like I asked that because like I knew they did like their final tour, but then I feel like I see every once in a while I see something about it like, hey, so and so is going to be on like Warp Tour, like such and such, and I'm like, wait, is it still a thing or is it not, or is this just kind of like a new like entity of it, you know? Yeah, I still can't hear you, buddy. You are having a rough time. He's just so
Um,
excited.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Did you tell me you didn't have a? Was it this last album you told me you didn't have a riff?
Yeah.
Oh, you really let me down here, man. The hype is not real. This guy hyped it up before we started recording that it was going to be filled with him just going
The later ones I'll have some riffs for you.
See, he did not state that earlier. I was misled. What do you got?
I'm pretty sure that they're still doing Warp Tour. It might have like
See,
gone out for a little while, but I'm
probably
pretty
for like
sure
a
it's
year, and they're
back.
like, "We're back."
Yeah.
It's like Tom Brady. I'm retiring, and then like 2 weeks later, he's like, "Yeah, I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm back." Uh, I mean, I don't know attendance wise or whatever, but like, I don't really see why they ever decided they wanted to stop doing it. The whole
I
Warp
don't.
Tour thing. It's yeah,
Who
because I mean, it
knows?
seemed like it was still a big popular thing. Like a lot of bands wanted to do it and everything, but I don't know. There was something else I was gonna say. Oh, did you ever go? You never did Warp Tour, did you?
No.
When I say that, I meant like go see it because that sounded like the way I asked that, it sounded like, did you ever play Warp Tour?
Also, no.
Yes, I took my solo gig onto Warp Tour. My ambient noises.
My ambient textures.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Alrighty.
Here I am once again, torn into pieces. I can't remember the next part. Something, something. Thought you were the one.
Something, something.
But
something.
you won't get to see those tears I've cried. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
No, I don't. What of it though? Was that?
Here I am once again. I'm torn into pieces.
Oh, jeez. Who was that?
You won't get to see the tears I've cried. Behind these evil eyes.
It was a girl singing it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Here I am once again. It wasn't Avril Lavigne, was it?
Torn into pieces. No,
Or
it's Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah. There you
I was
go,
gonna say
Kelly
Michelle
Clarkson.
Branch. They're like the same fucking person.
Who? Michelle Branch.
You don't know who Michelle Branch is?
No, who's that?
Oh my god.
Who's Michelle Branch?
Hold on, let me pull up one of her songs. All I can hear is Kelly Clarkson, man.
Here I am once again. Oh man. By the way, this is part of the show right now, so
That's fine.
you you have my what's the word? What's the word I'm
Turn
looking
it
for?
inside out so I can see.
Oh my gosh. Well, there goes our copyright.
It'll be fine.
We're screwed. I'm just gonna edit that part out.
Wow, she totally put out another album this year.
Who? Kelly
Michelle
Clarkson?
Branch.
Oh,
Her last album before that was like 2003.
holy cow. Making a comeback.
I'm pretty sure. Oh no, wait.
Making it a comeback.
She did do one in 2017. Yeah, before that, man, 2003. She did an EP in 2011. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Man, he has given us the full history of Michelle Branch.
People need to know.
People need to know. Where can they buy this new album from Michelle Branch?
If I had to guess, probably at like, I bet she has like a fucking Target deal.
Probably Target or Walmart.
Yeah,
or,
she's one of those artists that has like a Target or Walmart exclusive deal.
right. Do you know they're still making like those now? That's what I call music or such and such.
What volume are they on?
I don't even know, man. I don't even think they're that far. Like I feel like they were doing them for a while and then
Now
maybe they
that's
kind
what
of
I
like
call
dropped off.
music,
And now they're
volume 3729.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, that's crazy. I remember when those first started coming out. We had some. Yeah.
Now that's what I call music, volume 3. Ain't no lie. Bye bye bye.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. All right, let's get back on track here, man. Let's finish up strong with 2005's Gutter Phenomenon from Ferret Records.
Yes.
Hey,
This is where Keith finds his vocals.
would you be willing to guess that, or would you be willing to bet that there's going to be a new bassist on this album?
Yeah, probably.
You'd be a smart man. Actually, during the writing process, the bassist Stephen Mitchie would leave the band and be replaced by Kevin Falk. Does that name sound familiar to you at all? I don't expect it to, but
Not right off the top of my head.
okay. He was a bassist
Who dat?
in the early years of Between the Buried and Me. I think I remember him being on some of those early albums. Songs on this album include
That's a little Between the Buried and Me for you.
okay, I was about to say, is this Every Time I Die or Between the Buried and Me?
That was Alaska.
Okay. At the very beginning.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun,
I'm sure you've seen the thing where they all do that, right? They all do
Who?
like vocally the intro to Alaska.
No, what?
The band. You've never heard that?
No, I've never seen that. That's
Oh, yeah,
hilarious.
it's pretty funny. Like
It's
they
on
started
YouTube,
doing
right?
it. Yeah.
That's
and they
hilarious.
each do like their own part, so it actually sounds like really good.
That's crazy. See if I can just see that real quick. I don't know. You might have to. Yeah, you
I
might
probably have to
send
try
that
to
me.
find it. Yeah, I feel like I saw it randomly somewhere sometime, but I do remember that though.
That's interesting. Okay. Anyway, got a phenomenon. Songs include "Kill the Music," featuring one Gerard Wade of My Chemical Romance. That was kind of like, wasn't 2005 like their first album? Or no, not. I'm sorry, not their
Uh,
first album, but the
that
second
would
one.
have yeah, that would have been like Three Cheers.
Yeah, Three Cheers. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. What's their first album called? I forget.
You brought me your bullet, or you brought me your bullets. I brought you my love.
That's right. Okay. Kill the Music featuring Gerard Wade of My Chemical Romance. Bored Stiff, Stiff, Bored Stiff,
Bored stiffed.
Stiff, Bored Stiff, Easy Tiger, Tusk and Temper, The New Black, Champing at the Bit, which actually features Daryl Palumbo of Glassjaw, Groom
Nice.
and How It Gets That Way, and Guitared and Feathered. I waited till we got to this album to say this, but I feel like on this album, and I don't want to say every album before, but at least this album and like maybe a couple before, I feel like, is it just me or does Keith's like singing vocal parts kind of sound like Gerard Wade at times? There was a couple of times I'm like, wait, is that Gerard Wade? And I'm like, no, this is a different album.
It's this album because whenever I
Well,
first
especially this
heard,
one. I feel like the last album too, Hot Damn, I feel like there was a couple on there that was kind of like, hey, it really sounds like Gerard Wade.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if he was on this album the first time I heard it. I was like, that sounds like Gerard Way, but also like it kind of sounds like Keith Buckley.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Interesting. What do you think about this album, Josh?
I love this album.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
It's good. Move on. No.
What more do you want to say?
Yeah, this album's great.
Give me a deep dive on your thoughts on this album. Yeah, that's what I want.
It's got probably, I think this is my favorite album art.
Really? Okay.
of
Oh,
any
album art.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
And we're getting to this.
It's a really good album artwork. Yeah. Yeah. Music wise.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like this is right there for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Apocalypse Now and Then is really solid.
Mhm.
Kill the Music, like you said, with Gerard Way, like that one, like that's just a feel good, you know.
Yeah.
I mean all the tracks are good, but I'll just pick out a couple of the ones that really stand out. Easy Tiger has to be like, if not like Easy Tiger, then The New Black, but those are probably the 2 most popular songs on the album. Anytime I see somebody do like covering Every Time I Die, they always play one of those 2 songs. And I would say it's equal. Like I see a lot of bands play Easy Tiger because it just goes so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was probably, I think actually that was the first song that I ever heard from Every Time I Die was Easy Tiger.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a good one.
Yeah. At least that's the first one, or it's the first one I remember hearing, at least. I mean, I may have heard other ones, but that's the one that really stood out, at least. Yeah.
Starts out with the tiger,
No, that's a different one.
No, it's Easy Tiger.
No, that's a different one.
I don't think so.
Yeah, go listen to it real quick. It's a different one. That's from an
it
earlier
is.
album, I'm pretty sure. Oh man. Because that's the one that goes.
Oh yeah, is it the? Okay, yeah.
That's the one where at the core, I guess you could call it the chorus. We're like, doctor,
Yes, yeah.
give her the news. Yeah.
Now it's gonna drive me nuts if I can't figure out what song that is.
I think that's from I think it's from Last Night in Town. One of those songs, isn't it?
No.
No. Well, maybe it's it's is it on this album then? Just one of the other? Or is it Board Stiff?
See, I really thought it was on this album, but I'm like not seeing it anywhere. Oh, it's Kill the Music.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know how
We were so
missed
focused on
that.
Gerard Wade.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
the only
Easy
thing about
Tiger.
Gerard Wade. Yeah.
Everybody loves the Doctor line. You know,
Yep.
it's
Mhm.
like that line is right up there with, I feel like, for the general Every Time I Die fan, with if loving me is wrong, then goddamn you do it right.
Right.
Yeah, and those two tracks are definitely the most popular. New Black's really solid. It was actually on, I don't remember which Guitar Hero that was on, but
Oh, okay.
it was at least popular enough to make it on there.
Okay. Interesting.
But also, like, I don't know, Guitar Hero had some kind of weird tracks on there sometimes. Like, there's a Fall of Troy song on
Mhm.
that same Guitar Hero. I think that might have been like 2. I think that might have been 2. But my favorite riff, I think, on this album is at the end of Tuscan Temper.
Okay.
The
Play it.
I'll eat you alive riff. The da 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 da
Oh
da
yeah,
da
yeah, 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 yeah. That's a
da
sick
da
riff,
da
man.
da
Yep.
da. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sick riff. I
Da
forgot about that.
da da.
Da, 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 da. Yes. Yeah, that's a great riff, man.
I'll
Great
eat
riff.
you alive.
But yeah, this is I definitely feel like you, or I agree with what you're saying. This is the meat of it, man. This is the sweet spot. When
Yeah.
it starts getting really good and they really start finding their groove,
Yeah.
especially over the next couple albums. I feel like this album, Big Dirty, and New Junk Aesthetic, that's it, man. That's the stuff.
Yeah. That's definitely the best spot.
Yeah.
The later albums are still really
They're
good.
good, but they're just
Because even X Lives, dude, like X Lives is pretty solid all the way through.
yeah. And we'll get to all that.
We'll get there.
Oh, we'll get there. Oh, we're getting there sooner or later. All right.
Ooh,
this
Guitared and
album-
Feathered too. Guitared and
Yes.
Feathered.
Yep. Well, and I love Gloom and how it gets that way. I mean, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
This is a good album from front to back,
Yeah.
It's definitely this album, obviously, if you couldn't tell from just us two talking about it, was met with highly favorable reviews.
People fucking love this album, dude. Like this is
Huh?
like I said, people fucking love this album.
Yeah.
Like if you talk to somebody who probably doesn't listen to Every Time I Die anymore, like this is the album that they will mention.
They'll
you know?
bring up, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard Gutter Phenomenon? Why,
is
yes,
like-
I have.
Well, this is like right in that era too. Like it's right in that cradle of like 2003 to 2007 where like there was nothing but gold just pouring out
Right,
music
yeah.
wise,
Yeah. Yep. I agree, man. All right. Got any final thoughts on Gutter Phenomenon before we leave it in the rearview mirror?
No, I did used to think that, I don't know, somewhere in my mind I'd gotten like the two mixed up, and I thought for a while that Big Dirty came before Gutter Phenomenon. And I think it just says something to like the style of Big Dirty, that like it still feels like a little more polished like Gutter Phenomenon, not as raw as Hot Damn. But it just does it like a little bit differently. Like it's still clean, it's just like a little rougher around the edges, if that makes any
Right.
sense.
No. I hear what you're saying. We'll get to that because there is some stuff that I've got in my notes that kind of go along with what you're talking about with the whole album of Big Dirty in comparison to the previous two, Gutter Phenomenon and Hot Damn. But we'll get to that, man. We will get to that.
We didn't even mention the the most shocking line of this album or any Every Time I Die album so far.
What is it?
Um, with just that bass drum or that kick behind it, just being like do 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 do. Does that do anything for you?
Huh? What?
It just like slows down. It's da 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 da.
On which song?
It is. I think it's Bored Stiff. It's hey there, girls. I'm a cunt.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I remember hearing that. I'm like, what? I forgot about that. There's just so many. Like, it's like I'm not as like familiar with them as you are, and so like a lot of these songs are starting to like run together, especially as I'm like trying to listen to all of this stuff again because it's been a while. You know?
They have a very, I don't know, and I've never felt that way about Every Time I Die. Like, been like, oh man, every one of these albums just sounds exactly alike,
Right.
They
it's like,
sound alike, but in a really good way.
right. You can, I mean, there was a couple of times that like I had some lines from a song stuck in my head like the past couple of weeks, and I'm like, okay, what song was that? And then I'm like, okay, what album was that on? Because I can't even remember now.
Well, it's
So it's like I had to go back and like hunt,
it's a massive discography, and I
Right.
think that the way we've chosen to break this up is probably the best way to do it, because you get there's like these breaks of like styles,
Right.
so like
yeah.
the first three are all the same style, then Gutter Phenomenon, Big Dirty, and New Junk
New
are
Junk is
all the
sick,
same
yep.
style.
Yep.
Then X Lives, Low Teens, and
Yeah, we're
one in
missing one.
between
I can
those
see
two.
it. Yeah.
Hold on.
I can see the album artwork, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah,
Because that's the one that has Daniel Davison on it.
Parts
on
Unknown.
drums. Yeah, that's it. Parts
Yeah.
Unknown. Yep.
So Parts Unknown, X Lives, and Low Teens are all the same. And then Radical, it is similar to those. It's more similar to those last three albums than any of the others,
Right.
but it still is kind of its own thing.
Right. Yep. I agree, man. Lots to come, lots to look forward to in the next couple of episodes. But let's finish this one up here real quick. Got a few more notes before we get on out of here. So, Kevin Falk, the bassist on this last album, Gutter Phenomenon, would actually be kicked out of the band soon after the album was released, and he would be replaced by Chris Byrnes, Byrnes. Burns? I'm trying to think how you would say Burns. Anyway, he was in a band called Nora. I don't know if that's it. I wonder if that stands for something, because it was all in caps. This probably stands for something, some acronym.
Maybe.
But anyway, he was a bassist in that band, but he is replacing Kevin Falk in Every Time I Die. Quick turnaround, though, for Chris, because he would quickly be replaced by a familiar person that you and I both know, Josh. One Keller Harbin, from ex member of the Chariots. This would be after he had left the Chariot, probably right after, actually, because it'd be right after he left the Chariot. He would actually join the band as a bassist just for touring purposes until they could find a permanent bassist. Also in 2006, their first DVD was released. It's called Shit Happens, which includes home videos, live shows, and tour antics. Have you seen this DVD, Josh?
I've seen some of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
I didn't realize that they had put out any DVDs until I started doing some research.
But they were just like super popular around then,
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to interject with Nora. It wasn't an acronym. Okay. They took the name for the band from Nora De Niro, who was just a character in the movie Pump Up the Volume. Kind of the same way we took Robert Paulson from Fight Club.
Pump Up the Volume. Is it some like dance movie?
I don't know.
It sounds like a dance movie. Anyway, yeah, thank you for that side note there.
Yep.
All right.
In
So,
death, his name was Robert Paulson. Just wanted to let you know that in death, a member of Project Mayhem does have a name, and his name was Robert Paulson. So,
okay, you got that off all your chest?
yep.
I'm good. Okay. Interesting. Thank you, Josh, for
Yep.
those interesting facts.
No problem.
This has been a fun fact moment with Josh. Many to come. Stay tuned.
Many more to come.
Many more to come. All right. That's going to leave us with a 2006 lineup of Keith Buckley on vocals, brother Jordan Buckley on guitar, Andy Williams, Andy the Butcher Williams on guitar, Keller Harbin on bass, but again, just for touring purposes. And
Dude, that
Michael
would have
Ro-
been an awesome time to see them with Keller
Oh
on
yeah.
bass.
Oh yeah. For sure, dude. For sure. And Michael Ratboy Novak on drums.
The Rat.
The Rat. All righty, Josh. Any final thoughts on this first part of the history of Every Time I Die? We made it through what, 3 full albums, 1 EP, and a demo. What do you think so far?
I would just say that if you haven't listened to Every Time I Die, or you haven't listened to any of the albums that we covered so far, like get in there and listen to a few of them. I would say that, I mean, if you're already, if you're listening to, let's say you came around because of the Norma Jean episode, like if you like Norma Jean, you're definitely going to like Every Time I Die, at least some of their stuff.
Right.
I feel like probably the most accessible point for people is going to be that we've talked about so far is probably going to be Hot Damn or Gutter Phenomenon.
Gutter Phenomenon. Yeah.
Probably Gutter
I would
Phenomenon.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Gutter Phenomenon for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
just encourage people to get in there, and it's a big discography. There's a lot of
It's very
songs there,
intimidating.
but
It's very intimidating.
But the first several albums are all very short. Like,
yeah. Well, and that was, I forgot to mention that. That was one thing that I had forgotten about, especially their early albums, is like, I would
Last
say
Night in Town
each
is so
song
short.
is like, I would say like each song is like an average of like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's quick. I mean, they're not slow songs either. They're all pretty fast. So yeah.
New
But yeah,
Junk
you-
feels like one of the longest. That one and X Lives always. Well,
Really?
No, X Lives goes pretty quick.
Because I felt
Yeah.
like New Junk goes really quick.
Really?
Yeah. At least to me, it does. I don't know. Alrighty. Anything else?
No, I'm just looking through some of the songs on the next few albums. I'm like, God, there's just some fucking bangers here.
We're definitely do not miss this next episode when it comes out. Don't miss any of the episodes that come out, man. Okay,
I got a
sidebar. Go for
sidebar
it.
real quick. Did you how much have you listened to Low Teens?
I think I've only listened to it like one time through, and that was quite a while back.
Okay. I
Yeah.
would say go back and listen to Two Summers. That's my
Okay.
favorite one on the album. Like there's just so many good like blocks
to
in
it.
that song that like,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
a banger.
All right. I think I will do that then. Anything else? Any other sidebars?
No, Wanderlust on New Junk Aesthetic. No.
Dude, that's probably honestly, dude, my all-time favorite Every Time I
And-
Die song.
And if my hands find themselves another
Oh my
body,
gosh,
you
dude.
can't blame them for
You
trying
can't
to
keep me, bro.
warm.
I'm just trying to keep warm. Yeah, that is probably my favorite Every Time I Die
Yeah.
song, dude. That one just hits so hard. And like the time changes on it every once in a while. I mean, they're not like big time changes, but I mean just like it just hits so hard. There's so many parts to that song.
Yeah.
There's like so many levels to that song, it seems like, man. Just keeps getting better and better and better throughout the whole thing. Anyway. Yeah, it's just so good, man. Anyway. All right. Final sidebars, final comments.
No, we gotta
Okay.
stop.
Okay.
I'll just sidebar my way through the rest of these albums.
Sidebar. All right. All right, man. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @issurvivedbypro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, guys, but on our other shows too. It
Oh,
includes
what,
the
what
Red.
are the other shows?
Well, let me tell you, Josh. Our first show is the Red Right Hand podcast, where me and Josh sat down. We rewatched the Peaky Blinders, all 6 seasons, and we talked about each and every episode. That's the Red Right Hand podcast. And there's also the Throne of the Dragon podcast, where me and Josh are covering each and every episode of the House of the Dragon when it comes out with a new episode. But yeah, go check out either one of those along with this show. And while you're at it, and you're on Twitter, make sure you follow this guy over here, my co-host, at Joshua Lynn Gary on Twitter. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And hey, if you want to listen to us while looking at our smiling faces, head over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived By Productions. And then I'll have every episode from all our shows, the History of the Course podcast, Red Right Hand podcast, and House of the Dragon podcast. Or
Red Right
Throne of
Hand
the
pod.
Dragon.
Red Right Hand pod. Red Right Hand pod.
Oh, man. Throne of the Dragon podcast is what I meant to say. But hey, while you're over there on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the videos. And hey, leave us a comment too if you want. Speaking of comments, if you have a band from the core genre that you want, not you, if you have a band from the core genre,
we're
I
doing
almost
me
said
already
you, but not you. Yeah, this episode was for you more than anything. But hey, if you, the listener, have a band from the core genre that you want us to discuss, leave us a comment on any of these podcasting services, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, such and such, with the band name you want to hear. And maybe, just maybe, we'll cover them. We'll talk about them. We'll sit down. We'll have a nice chit chat and a couple of sidebars along with it.
Yeah, I might have a nice story to go along with the band.
Exactly. But you'll never know unless you leave us that comment, bro.
Many times have I seen many bands and gotten my ass kicked at many a show.
See, that's a crazy thing. I think we've done this is the 4th band we've done now. And you've seen several of these bands. Actually, you've seen all of them except for Every Time I Die. And every one of those shows, I think I remember you saying that like it wasn't like anything like crazy, not like, oh, the cops are called or whatever. So we're getting to those points, people. They're coming.
We'll get to those shows.
There's plenty more. We're just we're trying to ease you into it. We don't want to just like punch you straight in the face and be like, oh God, what am I listening to? Alrighty, that's it. Anything else, Josh?
Nope.
Alrighty, let's get on out of here. We will see you in the next episode for part 2 of Every Time I Die. See ya.
See ya.